What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Elite Redux. I forgot for a second, but today we're on Pokemon Elite Redux and today's challenge can be Pokemon Elite Redux using only starter Pokemon. So this is actually going to be an interesting challenge video because there's not a lot of starter Pokemon available to us at certain points, so it's going to get pretty difficult. But I know this game is all about customization, so I think we can make it through this challenge video. If you guys don't know, Elite Redux is an MMO ROM hack which makes the game very customizable. It's also really difficult. As you can see, we're playing on Elite mode with Elite level caps. Makes it pretty difficult. You have pretty good AI as well and crazy abilities. Fully Evolved has like 4 abilities in total, and like you could get all the moves. Very customizable at the start. You could just do all that at the start of the game, which is crazy. But on top of that, we're going to try to beat it using only starter Pokemon, so Pokemon that you can get as a starter Pokemon throughout the regions, and that's the only Pokemon available to us. There's a little bit of hiccups, but you know what, I'll tell you along the way. But besides that, a fun rule for everyone: each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. Obviously, to begin off, we're gonna get ourselves the starter Pokemon. So we actually can choose between any region Pokemon to start off with. I was really thinking about Froggy there, but I think Combuskin might be the best one. I think it's the only one that's possible to do. Maybe everyone else. No, I think Torchic is the only one that's possible to do, and you'll see why. So first, we get ourselves a Torchic. We actually struggle against May a little bit because I kind of forgot how it works. I was like, what? How do you beat this Mudkip at this level? Like, I went for Power Punch and Thunder Punch, didn't work. I had a Focus Sash on. What I have to do is actually start off. Actually, I have to Dynamic Punch, make the Mudkip hit itself in confusion, and then from there, I can start progressing through the game. As you see, a lot of times, I'm going to avoid all the trainers because I don't need to fight them because the XP is actually completely useless. I'm gonna save a lot and just restart until I miss a bunch of trainers. Until we get into Petalburg Forest, we can catch your first starter Pokemon, controversial starter Pokemon. Pichu will evolve into Pikachu, and Pikachu is a starter Pokemon in 2 different games, in Pokemon Yellow and also Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. So this is technically a starter Pokemon. We can evolve it. In both of those games, they don't evolve the Pichu, or they don't evolve the Pikachu at all. So I guess that's a gray area, but as you can see, you know what, Cardicel is a Pichu, evolve it into a Pikachu. We have a lot of abilities, as you can see. From there, we also went out the way. We avoided a lot of trainers to make our way into close to Rustboro City, and then from there, we get yourselves an Eevee. Now, Eevee is actually a starter Pokemon in one other game. It's in Let's Go Eevee, but also your rival in Pokemon Yellow also has an Eevee, so technically, it's a starter Pokemon in a lot of games. Those don't evolve, I don't believe. Wait, actually, I forget if your rival in Yellow evolves the Eevee or not. But either way, Let's Go Eevee, it doesn't evolve, but it's a starter Pokemon, so we can count it because we need some more Pokemon. So from there, we're going to make our way into Rustboro City, and it's a little bit of a pain. You got to make sure like the Pokemon hit itself. Yeah, Power Punches are really annoying. You have to face off against every single trainer as well, so it's really annoying. But from there, once you finally do it, you can make our way into the first gym in the game. It's going to be an interesting build as we start the battle off against Roxanne, and we have to go for a Detect to outspeed the Onix, and then Dynamic Punch to hopefully land, and then confuse the Onix and hope it hits itself in confusion, which this instance it doesn't, so we got to reset. To land Dynamic Punch, it has to hit itself in confusion. We also have to let it hit itself in confusion 2 times in a row. I kind of got greedy at the end. I'm not too sure why, but I think I forgot how to count. But I actually got a +6 Swords Dance, which actually makes things a lot more easier. So we had the Swords Dance up all the way up to +6 and hit itself in confusion that many times. And then from there, I could double kick into the Onix, knock out the Onix. Her next Pokemon will be a Lunatone, which I get a double kick off against, 2-shot into him. And from there, her next opponent after that will be the egregious Gastrodon. This is the run killer. You have to land Dynamic Punch it because double kick is not enough damage. Once you land a Dynamic Punch, it's over, as ready to knock out the Gastrodon with this hit. And from there, her last Pokemon, just double kick into, as ready to beat down the Graveler, the Magcargo, and then also her Amora, which, is useless. From there, we beat Roxanne. We don't get any starter Pokemon from her, but we beat Roxanne. And we face up against this trainer also in Vernon Turf Tunnel against this Team Aqua member. Super annoying. We also face up against Steven Stone, which is actually surprisingly easier. So we beat Steven Stone and make our way into the next gym in the game, which surprisingly so, our Pokemon were actually pretty useful. So Pikachu, Eevee were actually pretty useful. As from there, we're going to face up against Brawly next. Brawly is a pretty easy fight. You'll see why. We found out a new technique. We start the battle off against him using my Eevee to Sand Attack into the Chestnut. From there, I'm able to go for multiple sand attacks to lower his accuracy. Into his actually or -6 accuracy. Go out into my combustion next. Dodge all the moves. Sword stands up 3 times. Now it's not as simple as you think. I'm actually gonna baton pass into my Eevee, because it's the only Pokemon with a really strong priority move. It's adaptability, I believe. No, it's Prankster, I believe. So I go for extreme speed. I'm gonna go for I extreme speed it with my Eevee to knock out the Chestnut. But I go for a Wish because it's actually landing some hits. It's kind of scary here. So from there, I'm gonna regain my HP and then extreme speed to knock out the Chestnut. From there, her next Pokemon after that will be Hitmonchan. I one-shot it with extreme speed. His next Pokemon after that will be a Lucario, which I go for a Swagger. Hits himself in confusion and then extreme speed to knock him out. Again, his Crabominable comes out. I swagger him as well. He hits himself in confusion as well. Extreme speed to knock him out. And from there, his Toxicroak comes out. I don't think I needed to go for the swagger, but I did anyways. Extreme speed to knock out the Toxicroak. As his final Pokemon will be a Hatterene, which I go for an extreme speed. It does survive it, but he has a Life Orb, which is going to knock himself out as we beat down Brawley. And yeah, secure the second gym badge in the game. We're going to do that again against Archie and all his goons in Slateport City. We're ready to beat down Archie, and from there we can move on into Marvel City. So we make our way into Marvel City, and thank God, because this is where the game actually starts. We make our way into the game corner, and we could buy every single starter Pokemon. We finally are saved. We don't have to do Eevee sweeping everyone down, so we can get every single starter Pokemon possible, just so we have some variety. But there's some really good ones. You'll see why. So my team, I didn't show off my team. I know people asked for it. I'm sorry I forgot, but I do have a Blaziken. It has speed boost and just really broken. Superior with Contrary. It has Leaf Storm and Draco Meteor and all that. Cinderace is a really basic Cinderace with Libero, so it's just really good. So that's why I kept it on my team. Typhlosion, Blazing Soul, priority moves for fire type moves. And yeah, it's pretty broken. I kind of switch around Chestnut. It has like a good defense buff. And also, Primarina is a fairy type. It's actually just naturally good, and it's water type, so it covers a lot of my weaknesses. So it's actually a pretty decent team. So from there, we can move on and face out against Watson next. Watson's going to be the 3rd gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against his Raikou using my Blaziken. We're going to Fire Punch into him and what? I don't know. I burned him and then knock him out with a Fire Punch. His next Pokemon will be a Raichu, which I Fire Punch again into. I survive a Side Shock and then knock him out with a Fire Punch. His next Pokemon after that will be a Lantern, which I go for a Dynamic Punch. Unfortunately, it missed, so unfortunately for that, he's gonna knock me out with a Shockwave. I go out to my Superior, which will Leaf Storm into him. Pretty bad showing, I'm not gonna lie, but from there I go out into my Primarina to Moonblast and knock out the Lantern, and also the Dracozolt. Really nice for us, as his next one will be a Klinklang. I sacrifice my Primarina, go out into my Typhlosion to knock out the Klinklang with a Flamethrower, and his final Pokemon will be a Clawitzer, which is a Mega Clawitzer. I go out to my Chestnut to do some damage, which is not a lot. But then I got to my Libero Cinderace, which would knock him out with a high jump kick. So we're able to beat down Watson pretty easily. As from there, we can make our way into Fall Orbiton. We can still like try to just avoid all the trainers, because again, it's not too useful for us to beat all the trainers in this game. Except for the gym fights, we had to clear through all the gym trainers there, but then everyone else you could just avoid. We can make our way into Mount Pyre, which we can clear through Maxi up here, which we cleared Tabitha with Primarina, cleared through Maxi with Superior, and from there we make our way into Lava Ridge Town, which we can clear through all the trainers in Flannery's gym, and we didn't struggle at all. You know, our Pokemon went down once in a while, but honestly we just cleared through. It was super easy. Even Superior was cooking, sweeping down a fire type trainer. Oh my god, this is why it's broken. But from there, we're going to face off against Flannery. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Feraligatr, which I didn't know I had. But we're going to go for an Aqua Tail and knock out the Volcarona after I reset it, because I realized I was being stupid. So from there, Aqua Tail, Aqua Jet would knock out the Volcarona. Her next Pokemon will be Entei, which is going to knock me out. Actually, doesn't knock me out. I go for a Dragonus and then Aqua Tail to knock him out, as her next Pokemon will be a Leafeon. You know, my Typhlosion with Blazing Soul. Flamethrower to knock out the Leafeon, and then from there, her next Pokemon will be a Solrock. I sacrifice my Blaziken and then go out into my Superior to Leaf Storm into him, but it doesn't knock him out. He leaves it at 1 HP, which is super annoying. From there, I go out into my Typhlosion to Flamethrower and knock out the Solrock. Flamethrower into the Appleton. It forces me out to my Primarina, which I Moonblast and knock out. And then her final Pokemon will be a Charizard, Mega Charizard Y. I sacrifice my Typhlosion and then go out into my Cinderace. Cinderace is able to go for a bounce and then paralyze the Charizard, which is like the best RNG possible. So from there, I can go for a bounce again and knock him out. So Cinderace is kind of broken. We end up beating down Flannery, get our 4th gym badge in the game. we're gonna make our way all the way back into Petalburg City, which we actually encountered the trainers we avoided at the start of the game, which is kind of annoying. But from there, we're gonna make our way into Petalburg City and then face off against all the gym trainers out here, and then face off against Norman himself. We're gonna start the battle off against Norman using my Cinderace. Cinderace able to go for a high jump kick and knock out his Kangaskhan to start off. His next opponent will be a Girafarig, which I bait him to use a psychic move, Sucker Punch with Libero to knock him down to low HP, avoid the attack, and then knock him out. So from there, his next opponent will be a Persian. It's gonna knock me out. As from there, I go out into my Infernape. I use a lot of fire type Pokemon. I just realized every single fire type Pokemon possible. But from there, Infernape doesn't do a lot of damage against the Persian. As I go out to my Blaziken, Blaziken is able to get a Blaziken gets Flame Body on the Persian and it survived. Fire Punch to knock him out. As his next opponent will be a Dodrio. He's gonna knock out my Blaziken as I go out to my Typhlosion. Fire Blast to knock out the Dodrio for us. As from there, his next opponent will be a Mega Bayonet. For some reason, I Fire Blast into him as he knocks me out, but I go out to my Superior Draco Meteor to 2-shot into him and get 2 special attack boosts. And then once again, Draco Meteor to knock out the Silvally in 1 shot. And his final Pokemon, well, that was his final, never mind, that was his final Pokemon. As we beat down Norman, get ourselves the 5th gym badge in the game. So from there, we're gonna move on and face off against Steven Stone in this rematch, and he's again pretty easy. You know, we use a lot of fire Pokemon. So from there, we can make our way into Fortress City after beating a rival and getting the HM for Fly. We can make our way into the gym, and all the trainers in here just easily get pushed over using a Teleon, which is kind of strange. I'm not too sure why I'm using Teleon, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, we're gonna make our way into the fight against Winona. We're gonna start the battle off against Winona using my Cinderace and also Typhlosion against her Crobat and Celesteela. We're gonna Pyro Ball into the Celesteela and then Fire Blast into the Crobat, which actually works out pretty well for us as we get him down to low HP. Works out as I made a Sucker Punch into the Crobat with my Cinderace and then Fire Blast into the Celesteela. Luckily it lands as we're ready to knock out both Pokemon. Her next 2 Pokemon will be a Tornadus and an Aerodactyl. I just double attack into the Tornadus as the Aerodactyl just misses. Make it switch out into the Zapdos and then hit down the Zapdos really hard with my Fire Blast. From there, I can Sucker Punch into the Zapdos. I switch out to my Superior to take the Earthquake pretty well. As from there, I can switch into my Teleon against the Moltres. From there, I can Snipe Shot and then Leaf Storm into the Moltres. And then from there, I could, well, Teleon goes down in 1 shot, but I could Leaf Storm into the Aerodactyl to get my special attack boost. Go out to my Primarina next, just to bait out the Solar Beam once again. I'm able to Leaf Storm, knock out the Aerodactyl, as he can go for Aeroblast and knock me out. But my Primarina has Hyper Voice to knock out the Moltres for us. As from there, her final Pokemon will be a Tornadus. I go for a Hyper Voice and Flamethrower to knock him out. As we're ready to beat down Winona pretty easily. We have 3 Pokemon in the back, so yeah, it's a pretty easy fight. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Maxie. And Maxie, even though we're in his house, we're just going to destroy him. As I don't know what I'm doing with my Greninja here. I'm just playing around with the nature. But we're going to face off against Maxie. And again, Maxie's not too difficult. We're able to clear him down. I think we just used Superior to cook him. Again, Superior Contra, super broken, should be really banned from the game. From there, we can move on. We're going to face off against the next gym in the game. We're going to move out to Moss Deep City. And the gym fights, barring the first 2, have been really easy since. But except this one's pretty hard, so we have to actually play the game. We actually tinker around my team a lot. So we're going to start the battle off against Tay and Liza, using my Incineroar and also Superior to start the battle. From there, I'm going to switch out my Incineroar into my Rillaboom to activate Grassy Terrain so I could use priority moves, so take away this Psychic Terrain, and then go out into my Typhlosion. Typhlosion is finally active, so I'm able to Fire Blast into the Renewclus. It's going to knock him out with my Superior, getting a boost with Draco Meteor. From there, I'm going to go out into my Incineroar next, which will Dark Alaria into the Macharno and Draco Meteor into him with my Superior. So get another boost up. Hoopa's going to knock out my Incineroar. As from there, I'm going to go out into my Cinderace. Cinderace is able to go for a bounce off against the Calyrex just to avoid the attack, and I could Draco Meteor into the Calyrex to knock him out. From there, the Hoopa misses the attack as I'm able to go for a Draco Meteor against the Oranguru, but unfortunately my Superior gets put to sleep, so I gotta go for a Powerball against the Hoopa, and then luckily my Superior wakes up, knocks out the Oranguru for us. Their final Pokemon will be a Mega Slowking, which normally is actually pretty strong. Lucky enough, it just goes for Calm Mind. As from there, I'm able to go for Draco Meteor and then just 2-shot into him with Bounce and Draco Meteor. As we beat down Tay and Liza, which, you know, took a few attempts, not gonna lie, it was a little harder than expected. And from there, me and Steven Stone are getting team up and face up against Maxie and Courtney. I'm not too sure why they switched out Tabitha, but it's Courtney now. We've cleared through him pretty easily and then activate your Quasar. Where Quasar's gonna do his, his thing, his storyline thing, and then from there we can make our way into the gym itself. We're gonna face up against Juan. Juan's gonna be the 8th gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Superior against his Suicune, and yeah, works out pretty well for us. He goes for Calm Mind, and then I 2-shot into him, so I'll take that. His next one will be a Dugong. he gets one-shotted. So yeah. From there, he goes out to his particle, which is actually threatening. So I go out to my Typhlosions, can go down to a Spatial Ren, kind of scary. From there, I go out to my Primarina, also gets one-shotted, pretty scary again. I'm like, okay, time to stop messing around. I go out into my Cinderace to high jump kick into him, survive an Earth Power, which is lucky enough. And then from there, high jump kick once again with a crit to knock out the Palkia. And that should do it as I get a high jump kick off against the Milotic. And I could go out into my Superior, Leaf Storm into the Milotic to get my special attack up. It knocks me down to low HP, but I should be fine as I'm going to knock out the Milotic, get a +4, and then knock out the Mega Lapras with a +6. And then finally, his last Pokemon will be a Dugtrio, which I knock out with my Greninja. Water Shuriken to knock him out as we beat down Juan, and from there we can make our way into Victory Road, which we kind of struggle against this trainer. Not gonna lie, this trainer has like a Kecleon Dugong. Not too sure why the creator loves Dugong so much, but you know what? Dugong's Dugong. But anyways, we make our way into the Pokemon League and our final preparations. Our final team will try to mix up my team a little bit. I was thinking using Sceptile, but I'm like, this is not that great. You know, I have a grass type Pokemon that's already good, my Superior, so I decided to just stick my team. My team is going to be Greninja, Superior, Typhlosion, Blaziken, Primarina, and also Cinderace. So it's actually a pretty solid team. You can see a partial bit of it. I'm gonna show you all the stats and all the abilities in a second. I'm not too sure why I didn't do it, but I did it after the first Elite Four members. Face off against the first Elite Four member in the game. We're start the battle off against Sydney using my Blaziken against his Grimmsnarl, and his Grimmsnarl is obviously gonna activate his Reflect, so we can go for a Swords Dance and then high jump kick into him. Roughly okay, you know, I could get a high jump kick off against him. He gets a Spirit Break, it's a little annoying, but from there I'm going to knock him out with a Fire Punch. As from there, his next opponent will be Xerneas. I go for a Fire Punch, knock him down to low HP. Actually, no, I lie. I knock him down to about half HP or a third. I go out to my Cinderace next, bounce into the Xerneas, hoping for a Paralyze. Didn't get it as he knocks me out, which is kind of annoying. But I go out into my Superior to Leaf Storm and knock out the Xerneas. His next opponent will be a Greninja, which I don't know why. I knock him out in one shot. His next opponent after that will be a Yveltal, which I go out into my Primarina, which will take an Oblivion Wing not too well. It's going to knock me out with a second Oblivion Wing. I go out to my Typhlosion next, which will knock him down to low HP, but he's going to get all his HP back to Oblivion Wing, which is annoying. So from there, I Fire Blast into him, I burn him at least, and then go out to my Greninja to Ice Beam and knock out the Yveltal. From there, his next opponent will be a Darkrai, which I Ice Beam and knock him down to low HP as he's getting Dark Void and then Dark Pulse to knock me out. But my Superior in the back with a Choice Scarf will Leaf Storm and knock out the Darkrai for us. As from there, his final team member is going to be a Luxray. It's going to be a Mega Luxray as I don't kill him with a Leaf Storm, but he doesn't knock me out with a Crunch. So I'm going to just knock him out with a Leaf Storm as we're to beat down Sydney in a very close fight. Lucky enough, Superior is very clutch. Here's a close rundown of my team. Also, items that I use for my Pokemon as we're going through. It's a very strong team. I spam Choice Scarf a lot, as you can see. But from there, we're going to move on and face off against Phoebe next. Phoebe's going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Primarina. Primarina doesn't get the job done. Gets down to about half HP for the Giratina. And then from there, I go out into my Greninja next. Greninja is able to Dark Pulse into the Giratina and then eventually knock him out. From there, his next Pokemon will be a Marshadow, which will knock me out, which is unfortunate. Kind of want to do some more chip damage, but unfortunately, the Marshadow knocks me out as I go out into my Typhlosion. Typhlosion goes for a Scorching Earth, which, you know what, it works out as he knocks himself out with a Life Orb. So, you know what, from there, we have to do an insane comeback. Go out to my Cinderace against the Golurk, and then from there, I can Sucker Punch into the Golurk, and then Pyro Ball to knock him out since I'm in Blaze range, since I have 4 abilities, by the way. As I'm able to knock out the Golurk, her next opponent will be a Calyrex, which actually works out for me as I go for a Sucker Punch, transform into a Dark type, and then 2-shot the Calyrex as we're to beat him down. Her next opponent after that will be a Crobat. Cinderace is actually just completely broken as I get a Sucker Punch off, getting down to half HP. Go out into my Blaziken next. Blaziken is able to go for a Protect, outspeed the Crobat now. Actually, I lied. It doesn't outspeed, but I survive a double edge and then Fire Punch into the Crobat to knock him out, and also the H-Slash. Well, he's at 1 HP, but my Superior can handle that as we're ready to go for a Leaf Storm and knock out the H-Slash as we're to beat down Phoebe. Next up, we're going to move on and face off against Glacia next. Glacia is going to be the 3rd Elite Four member in the game. We'll start the battle off against her using my Blaziken. Blaziken go for Mega Ball and then Protect to get the speed boost, and then high jump kick into Lapras, which doesn't kill us. That's so embarrassing. But I go out to my Cinderace next to high jump kick, revenge it, knock out the Lapras as the next opponent will be Articuno. Pyro Ball does not come close to knocking out the Articuno as we're ready to go for Power Ball twice. It burns him at least, and then allows me to go out to my Superior to Draco Meteor and knock out the Articuno. As from there, her next opponent will be Kieran White, which survives. Oh, she survived my Draco Meteor, but it knocks himself out, so we'll take that. As from there, I'm going to go into my Primarina against Dugong, which honestly was not a good matchup for me. Lucky enough, I was able to survive and knock out the Dugong, which would have been embarrassing if I lost a Pokemon to Dugong. As from there, her next Pokemon would be a Darmanitan. I go out into my Greninja. Greninja is able to go for a Scald and then 2-shot into him. As she can switch out to her Weavile, which gets burned, and I'm like, well, that's a dead Weavile. It can knock out my Greninja, which is ironic, but I go out to my Typhlosion. Flamethrower with Blazing Soul would knock him out, and also knock out Darmanitan as we're to beat down Glacia next. Next up, we're going to face off against Drake next, and Drake's actually a really easy fight, so we got very lucky. As we start the battle off against Drake, we get 3 flinches with Dark Pulse, and I'm like, what? Okay, we'll take that. The 4th one didn't work. He's going to knock me out, but I'm like, okay, what a good start. I go out to my superior next, Draco Meteor, and get my stat boost, and then from there, his next move is give me a Kiro. I know this thing has extreme speed. I gotta sack something. I go out into my Blaziken. She's going for a Protect here, even though I have speed. I'm not too sure why. High Jump Kick knocks me down to half HP. He's gonna knock me out with a Core Enforcer. Go out to my Cinderace next, which will High Jump Kick, Revenge Kill it. I don't know why this thing's so fast. This thing's like insanely fast Cinderace. But anyways, from there, he's going to switch out into his Rayquaza, which I'm like, ooh, Mega Ray. So I'm like, who am I second to sack? I decided to actually switch out into my Superior and sack it because I thought it was going to be useless later on. Go out into my Typhlosion, let it go for a Dragon Scent and lower his defense once again. So our Fire Blast into him, hoping for a burn. It does burn him. He's recovered through it. He's going to knock me out with a Dragon Scent, lower his defense again. Go out to my Cinderace to Suck Punch and knock out the Rayquaza. Huge play by me, and then from there his next one will be a combo. I'm like, that's tough, so I'm just gonna go for a bounce. I paralyze him on the bounce, which is crazy. And from there I go for a High Jump Kick and knock out the Como. His next opponent after that will be a Draglich, and then once again I go for a bounce. It gets paralyzed and he stays paralyzed. From there I go for a bounce once again to knock out the Draglich. As from there we're ready to beat down the Draglich, and his final opponent will be a Lugia. I go for a bounce trying to get the 3rd paralyzed. It didn't work though, but I go for a Sucker Punch off against him, get him down to half HP, and then eventually knock him out with my Cinderace. Cinderace single-handedly killed like 5 different Pokemon. This thing is insanely broken, guys. Anyways, from there we beat down Drake, and from there we can face off against the champion of the game. We're gonna face off against Wallace. Wallace can start the battle off against us using a Mewtwo Y. I actually restarted a few times to get this Dark Pulse flinch. I get the Dark Pulse flinch, and then finally I could progress through. I Dark Pulse flinch into the Mewtwo and then knock him out with 2. From there his next opponent will be a Kyogre. I test my luck a little bit going for a second flinch. Didn't work out. As from there I go out into my Blaziken next to protect and then High Jump Kick into the Kyogre. It works out really well for us actually. Gets a crit. I was actually just setting up my superior, but you know what, it works out. From there Wallace is going to switch out into his Mega Haxorus, which I go for a High Jump Kick and again one-shot it. His next opponent after that will be his Mega Dragonite, which I go for a High Jump Kick. He's going to survive it. It's going to knock me out with extreme speed. Yep. 2 extreme speeds, but I knock him down to HP, which I go out to my superior to Draco Meteor and knock out, and then again Draco Meteor into the Dragon Ball. Unfortunately, he has a Focus Sash, so he's gonna knock out my superior, but go out to my one and only Cinderace to Sucker Punch, to knock out a Dragon Ball, and then his final opponent will be a Mega Aggron, which I go for a Power Ball. It doesn't actually do a lot of damage, so I gotta go out to my Typhlosion. Fire Blast into him to 2-shot into him as we're able to knock out the Aggron as his final Pokemon, and we're able to beat down Wallace and clear through Pokemon Elite Redux using only starter Pokemon, which isn't too hard of a challenge at all. Besides the first 2 gym fights in the game, actually the second gym fight wasn't too bad, but the first one was pretty painful, but very easy challenge. If you guys want to do it yourself, I really recommend it. It's really fun. We get to the end, you can see my team. As you see, Cinder is very much the GOAT. But either way, that'll be it from me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.